If you were listening to our first radio talk show, you will know that I am sitting here with Mother Rytasha, and you will really love the conversation, as I love the conversation. Anyone that listens, there's something so spiritual and so kind and loving about Mother Rytasha. Just it comes through the radio waves. And I asked her a question about websites now, because this was not Mother Rytasha's love at the beginning, because she didn't really understand it, as so many of us didn't. But no one would benefit more than having this go to the world, because you can't walk everywhere, but your website can walk everywhere, and that's what's happened to you now, hasn't it?
Well, I think the Internet and the information that is available to us is unbelievable. And I was very resistant to a website. And I have some wonderful disciples, Timothy, Joseph, Hassan Ali, Jeremy Andreas. This team, they're young. They were very young. They were like 19, 20. And they didn't know how to make a website. But I asked them, I said, we're going to have a website. And they figured it out. And they have made a beautiful one. Please, if your listeners, take a look. You can just Google The Religion of Love. We're always first. And I think they did a beautiful job.
They did. And you will find them now going to many, many places that you did not go to for a long time.
Well, it's amazing. I was giving a talk in Washington, D.C., and this man said, my wife was so impressed. He showed the little book. And she said, oh, she's famous in Ethiopia, which we've never been to. And that's the power of the Internet, is that it can take your message everywhere. But always, any of these wonderful technology, it's always the consciousness behind them that makes them wonderful.
That's true. Those are wise words. Let's go into some of the books again. So after you wrote, of course, that was your first book, which is The Religion of Love, that I call it the introduction. What was your second book I tell you what, let me just tell you a book that I really loved, is Desire. Your names are quite interesting for a religious a book, but it isn't really, in a way, because we all desire love and we all desire peace. So it was a very good name. Tell us about that book.
It comes from, the Buddha had said, desire is the cause of suffering. And that made a great difficulty, because then people thought they shouldn't desire. And I'm very keen on translation and how things are explained. And it should really be material desire is the cause of suffering. Bhagavad Gita, which is the Bible of the Hindu, it's called, states that material desires are unlimited, never satisfied, and burn like fire. So it is material desires. We cannot give up desiring, nor should we. It's not that desire is the problem. It's what we desire. So it's good to desire that which is ultimately beneficial to us. So in fact, there's a word that devotees can be, what is called in Sanskrit, lalyam, which means greedy. Greedy for spiritual knowledge, greedy for spiritual experience. And that's very healthy.
That's well put. You're absolutely right about that. So desire, if it's a desire for doing good, so the word desire it's the context that you use.
It's what you desire that you want to look at.
Because I know you've desired a lot for your religion to give peace and love all over the world. That was a great desire for you, and it seems like it's coming to fruition.
It is. It is. Evidently, there are millions of followers in the East, because we've mainly been working in the East, and people have adopted it. And I love, one man came and he said something so beautiful, and I said to him, I'm going to steal this for a book, and I did. And he allowed me. And he said, when I read this book, it was as if my own heart was speaking to me. And I was so touched. And that's exactly what these books are. It's our own heart. It's not my religion or it's all of our religion. We are all the children of God, and that is the goal of the religion of love, that includes all religion, all people, as God includes all people.
And I've talked with Mother Rytasha about this before, and unfortunately sometimes people who think they are very religious really are not. That maybe they go and they do all the things that make them look like they're religious, but do they really have love in their heart?
Well, in one of our books, it says, and I believe it says to the effect that their spiritual words are on their lips, but it doesn't reach their heart. If they were truly spiritual, they would come among us with love, not with hate.
That's every time you're with Mother Rytasha, you hear these words of wisdom, and the best part, because a lot of people, prophets and people such as Mother Rytasha, they do not put this in the books in the form that are really easily readable. And it's very clever that this has occurred. And as you said, this was an inspiration for you. So I'd like to talk, we started talking just before we continue with your regular books. I was fascinated by the children's books. And I think that's extremely important because you can start with the children who really, you said something very interesting when we were talking before, that if you let a child alone, they already know all this. It's their experience that...
This is what was so interesting. We wrote these books such as Little Blue Monkey. Each book teaches a little lesson, and the teaching of Little Blue Monkey was not to hate somebody because they're different. And what happened was I just wrote a little book and did a little drawing, and then the disciples took that, and instead of just reading it to the children, which was my idea, which is a little limited, they made a play. They got costumes, they made animal costumes, and they take it out all over the world to the children. But what was so interesting, we're not teaching the children these ideas. They know it. We're reinforcing them.
That's what you had said.
And we
before.
give them a cookie so they realize it's a sweet thing.
That's a very sweet story. Why don't you share that? I love that.
Well, I had heard that in Judaism, when the child, I think this is an older tradition, that in Judaism when the child first goes to school, first learning his alphabet, the Aleph, they would make it from a cookie with honey, and so he could eat it, and he would connect learning with sweetness. So I wanted to connect these ideas with sweetness. So the cookies are always given to the children. The children always get a little book to take home. Even though they're very young children, what we found is Mother will read the story. There are always little drawings to look at. And then it gets passed around to brothers, sisters, cousins. The books travel.
They do. And one very important part in our rapid society, everyone is so busy, is to have a parent or someone sit down and read to a child. That's very important. It isn't just to have them watch the television or look at all the things that are available.
The children seem to love the little books and love to be read to and love the story and love to interact with the animals. In the monkey, the bear is jealous of the monkey, and he says it's because he's not the right color. He's blue, which is very pretty, by the way. But actually he's jealous because the monkey is a wonderful dancer and is very sociable. And when the bear is being mean to the monkey, all the children are all shouting, bad bear, bad bear. But it's so sweet. As soon as the bear says, I'm wrong, I was jealous, I made a terrible mistake, and he realizes it, the children all hug the bear. They immediately forgive him and love him. It's lovely.
It is. What a nice outcome. I think we could use that today for ourselves. It's not just a children's story, Well, the blue monkey we're seeing it every day today.
The new one, which I'm going to be drawing this week, is called The Tao of Now. And in it, the little fish learns to stop worrying. The swan teaches him to stop worrying by staying present in the now. And I'm calling it a child's book for adults.
Thank you. I think that's true. But even when I read your children's stories, I love them. I mean, my child in me came out.
Well, the idea is it's not only little children that dislike somebody because they're different. Unfortunately, we see even adults have this mistaken attitude sometimes.
It doesn't actually come from the adult many times passing it on to the children.
It does, because the children are very pure-hearted, because we work with very young children for the children's plays.
So who your illustrations are lovely. Who's doing the illustrations?
Well, I started, but I'm not really a drawer. And now after I started, Padmaja did some of them, but I'm back to doing them again. So this week I'll be doing the Tower of Now, the fish and the swan, because they're easy to draw, so I should be able to manage that.
And also, I recall from the children's books, so I don't have in my hand, that children could actually color them.
Yeah, they're line drawings. We try to do everything, whether it's the adult books, the simplicity is very important. And yes, they're line drawings. Children can color them in.
I want to go to, and I know I'm jumping around here because I absolutely love your books. By the way, for those of you who didn't hear the first one, we talked a little bit about soul food, Religion of Love, Soul Food, the teachings of Mother Rytasha. And soul food talks about why you may want to think about becoming is it a vegetarian or a vegan? Can you explain?
A vegetarian.
A vegetarian.
Vegan eats no animal products, so they don't eat cheese or dairy of any kind. It's very austere. We're not vegan.
Yeah, because
we will drink milk.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you're having goat cheese or you're having something, the animal's not being killed, right?
Exactly. So we don't.
Why do you know why a vegan goes to that extent?
I think they feel that. I don't know. I shouldn't really give a theory about what I don't know, but I will.
Well, I'm curious.
What I've heard is that they feel the animals are mistreated.
Even to give the cheese or the milk or the
milking
or the eggs.
Well,
you know, it's funny. If I live in the city, if I didn't live in the city, I would have my own little chicken, but of course it would be a pet. But then I would love to have fresh eggs. That's kind of a gift. The golden.
Well, then you're taking their little babies, aren't you?
Oh, you just did it to me.
I hope so.
No, not all eggs can be fertilized. If I don't have a rooster, it's not being fertilized, right?
Well, that's kind of mean.
I can't have a rooster waking me up in the middle of the morning.
Oh, we get up very early.
I know.
That's very healthy.
Yeah, I know it is. Well, and you go to bed early too, though, don't you?
Yes, that's the trick.
Yeah, that's the trick. Go to bed early if you want to get up early. That's great. Let's jump over to this gorgeous picture here. Now, of course, I know you've been doing so many things in Bangladesh, but that's not a real tiger that you have your head on.
It is a real tiger, but
tell me about
it's a picture.
A picture. Oh, it was superimposed. I've always wondered about that book because
I know
you're magical, but I didn't know you could really.
I'm not foolish.
I figured the tiger was just
because
inspired.
The tigers are not vegetarian. It's like the story of the tiger is chasing this Christian, and the Christian prays to, make the tiger into Christian. And God does, and the tiger bows down. He says, for what we are about to receive.
That's fantastic. So I'm looking at a beautiful little book, and it's called, of course, Religion of Love, Rebel, the Teachings of Mother Rytasha, and it's a thicker one, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that one, that was 2 years of work. There's a lot of things in there.
There is why don't you choose some things from that?
I'm just going to open up and see what I can.
It's a wonderful book filled with things. Rebel, yes. Maybe we'll just look through it, and then we come back on our next interlude. We'll do something on that particular book, because I love your titles, and I know you come from wherever they come from.
This is interesting.
No, we're going to wait. No, we're going to make people we're going to make them listen to the next one to hear this. So just don't leave your radio, and we'll be back